This is Final Voice TV, your favorite show. Today we talk about women empowerment in Africa. Your mother, my mother, needs empowerment. But hey, the story is being told that when a woman is empowered, or when you empower a woman, she disrespects. Women tend to be disrespectful when they are empowered. Do you believe in this? Do you know that the story is being told that when we empower women in Africa, they don't even open up their legs? In quotes. Do you know the story of women empowerment in Africa? It's being told that when we empower their women, they don't even go to the kitchen to serve us food. You will empower a woman and you lose your respect as a man. This is how the story goes in Africa. But is it really true? Should we empower our women or ignore them? Should we let a woman remain in poverty, in abject poverty in Africa, or they should be empowered? This is Final Voice TV. We look at women empowerment in Africa and how we can eradicate poverty among women in Africa. Final Voice TV. I'm going for a break. I'll be right back.
Dear viewer, kindly like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell to receive more videos.
So, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mitchell. This is Final Voice, your platform, and it's about women empowerment. The story is being told that when a woman is empowered in Africa, she tends to be disrespectful. That a woman is being empowered in Africa does not even want to have sex with a man in the bedroom. That they fail to go to the kitchen to provide or to serve their men food. They don't even carry out some chores at home. Do you think women in Africa are to be empowered? Do you see the need for women empowerment or women's empowerment in Africa?
Right, thank you, Mr. Charles, for a very important discussion that actually Africa needs to be engaging at the current moment. I actually hold the view that there is actually not going to be any development in Africa if the position of women is actually not looked into. So, for starters, we can actually look into the aspect of equal access to land. So, from experience, I've actually seen that it is actually difficult for women to access land in Africa. So this is the first point of call. So what I actually noticed is that when women cannot have access to land, it actually means by default also they cannot actually have the collateral that they need for them to buy some equipment or anything that they need on the farms if they are to grow any crops. And we know that the majority of people in Africa actually survive on agriculture. So if women do not have the access to the land, this actually creates a big problem.
Yeah, I know that when we talk about agricultural commercialization, then women should be at the center stage of this discussion. We need to empower them. We need to make sure they have some money in their pocket. Because there is this saying that when a woman has money, that money is for the family, the entire family, the man himself and the children. But when a man has money, it's for himself and other things. But you see, that is not the case. People feel that when we give lands to women, when women become richer, when they have jobs to do in Africa, things will change. The dynamics will change. The status quo will not remain the same. We want our women in the kitchen. We want our women not even to be part of our meetings as men. We sideline women when we are discussing very important issues. It was until recently that you see women being given the podium or the platform to speak in Africa. And here is the case you think you should even let them go into agriculture, something that will give them more money. Do you think men can speak when women are being given that platform, that boost, get this land and farm, and you know farming will bring the woman some kind of money? Do you think that is the way to go?
Actually, this aspect of women in agriculture is not futuristic. It's actually something that has been in existence for quite a long time, and the involvement of women is very paramount and key to agriculture in Africa. So, just to give you a small example, we look at horticulture and we look at the marketplace. Who are the people who are the main stakeholders at the marketplace? Are the women.
Yeah.
And most of these crops that are actually grown, you would actually find that it is actually the women. I might give you statistics from my country which actually shows that the majority of people within the rural areas are actually predominantly women. And these are the people who are actually doing the hands-on cropping systems, etc. And the men will sometimes come and then they declare themselves probably the owners of the monies as they come. But the actual production, sometimes you might actually attribute it to women. So it's not like women, we are saying they will at a particular time become or enter the agriculture market. They're actually doing it as we speak, but they do not get this recognition because they do not have this access to land that we are talking about.
Yeah, so what else can we talk about when you say we need to empower women? You made mention of agriculture, and what else can we look at?
Okay, now we are particularly looking at the African context. So I keep coming to this point that the majority of people in Africa live in the rural areas. So you look at the role of women in the rural areas. So they collect firewood, they collect water, they also prepare the meals, they also participate in the cropping and the actual farming on a day-to-day basis. So if we were to look at the role of men versus the women, you actually find that our women actually do quite a lot in the rural areas. So in that perspective, we are actually saying then if they are empowered, in the event like what normally happens, as is the case now, we actually see that we have the mortality of men is kind of like on a, if you were to compare, men actually die younger than women. So if we have not empowered them, that actually means that in the demise of the male figure in the family, it actually leaves this family actually in a very difficult position. But so if we look into the role of the women, as we have seen how they are actually very important in our space in Africa. So if we upgrade their status, they have managed to go to school, they managed to run their household. So we're actually saying that the position that we have in Africa would really, really change. So that's the perspective that I actually have with regards to women.
Yeah, you can contribute to this discussion by leaving a comment in the comment section. Do you think women in Africa are to be empowered? Do you believe in this women's empowerment drive in Africa? These are many more other things that we look at today. I'm going for a break. When I return, Mr. Mitchell tells us more about the need to empower women. Let's join hands and empower our mothers and sisters in Africa. I'll be right back. Yeah, so what else do we talk about? It's been women's empowerment in Africa. A big agenda. It's quite topical. And many people would like to join hands so we empower our women, our mothers and sisters in Africa. But what do we talk about? We mentioned of how we get these women into farming or agriculture. That when a woman makes money, that money is for the family. The child will eat, the man will eat. She herself will eat. But when a man gets money, it's the other way around. So we think women should, the discussion of women being active farming or commercial farming is something needful. What else can we talk about as a people of a continent when it comes to women's empowerment?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Charles. I think something that we can also talk about with regards to women on the continent is this issue of women and leadership. But before I just delve into the issue of women and leadership, I just wanted to give you an experience that I had within the farming sector with regards to women. So we had them working on a farm that I was also in charge of, and they were not going to receive quite like a lot of money. But what I noticed is the planning that they had with the very little amount of money that they were going to receive. And so the bulk of the money that they were going to receive, they were thinking of their children. They were thinking of the meal in the evening. But the same amount of money, there were also a few men that were working, doing the same field. Their plans were very totally different. They are thinking of where to get a drink in the evening just to whet their appetite. So this actually opened my eyes to see that this actually shows that if we empower women, definitely our economies in Africa can actually improve. But anyway, back to this aspect of women in leadership that we are talking about. There are so many things that come into mind when you talk about leadership and politics in Africa. So, for example, we spoke the other time about this issue of conflict. And we realized that on the African continent, this is where we have the highest conflict rate.
Yeah.
We have 14 out of 21 or 23 conflicts in the world are actually in Africa. And it is my humble view that possibly if we involve the women at a larger scale, I know there are moves that we actually have that to increase women participation. Under the African Union, there is a role that they put that women should actually have a quota within the parliaments. And that is actually a good thing, and I'm sure that is the way to go. But in line with this aspect of conflict, I'm sure that because women actually bear the brunt of the conflicts. Of course, the men do, but with women, then they have the children, they have to be moving, all these things. And if their involvement is actually increased, I would like to believe that we should be seeing probably a decrease in the number of conflicts that we have.
You mean the instability in Africa will be a thing of the past, or we can really manage instability if we have more women in positions in Africa?
The maternal instinct. Mothers by nature, they are very soft people, they are understanding. I'm sure their inclusion on a large scale should really change the landscape in the politics. Okay, we look at the other countries in Europe, for instance. We have very young women that are actually taking center stage in the politics. We go to Finland, we go to Australia, or is it New Zealand?
The Queen herself, the immediate past.
Exactly, yes. So you find that they're really doing a good job. And
Salif Johnson of Liberia, go to Tanzania now. There are some women who are in activism, like Funmilayo Kuti of Nigeria, talk about the Hassan Tour of Ghana, Miss Mandela, Winnie Mandela of South Africa, yes. And many of them can be mentioned.
Yes. So the thing is, we are not just saying that just by virtue of you being a woman, then you should actually get into politics. We actually is advocating for, because with the passage of time, many educated women who are very capable of doing as much as what we see also the men doing. These are the people that we actually saying can come on board and then help Africa to move forward. We have some renowned economists like Dambisa, they have a voice that they've given up for Africa. And I think they've got very important views that if we were to take them on board, even at leadership, in leadership roles, the status of Africa should definitely change.
Yeah, so livelihood empowerment programs in Africa should consider women. When you talk about agricultural commercialization, women should be at the center stage, because when women make money or produce more food, we can end food insecurity, because the food coming home is for the children, herself, and the husband. And women should be given positions, leadership roles in Africa. If we want to even work on the instability in Africa, my guest believes that women should be given positions when it comes to putting together a consortium of people to work on instability in Africa, or how we even get women in some positions to help work on this conflict or instability in Africa. Because a mother is everything. A mother is everything. These and many more are the things that we look at today as we celebrate our mothers, our sisters, our wives, and all women on this platform. Fana Voice TV, your favorite show. Going for a break. When I return, Mr. Mitchell Mahachi gives his final submission on women's empowerment, the need to empower women in Africa. Final Voice TV. Yeah, so it's about women's empowerment in Africa. We call the continent itself Mother Africa because we believe she's a woman.
Yeah.
Are we sure that continent is empowered?
Right. We touched on a number of issues that where women can actually be empowered. And I think probably we had actually omitted a very important aspect of education. But as we just delve into the education, we also look at just the acceptance of women, in discussions, in decision making.
Accepting their viewpoint, right?
Yes.
How we accept the viewpoint of women is another thing to look at in Africa.
Exactly. So you have, let's say, at a meeting, and women kind of don't participate because sometimes probably their views are, oh, no, you shouldn't talk, no, when they are men, etc. But you might find that, let's say, it might be the siting of a school. They do definitely have an input that they could give. It might be probably where the facilities to do with sanitation, etc. These are the people who have the experience and the knowledge that they think would be really useful. Because some men don't really care where the water is and where they do the laundry, etc. But the women know what is best. So in some circumstances, and just the acceptance of their views would really go a long way in developing our circumstances. And then coming back to this aspect of education, because once you are educated, somehow you are empowered. You can then make decisions based on fact, based on some actually concrete reasoning. And so we actually believe that women should actually have the access to education. As you know, in some areas, they actually say a woman should just go to school up to the point where she can just write a letter to her boyfriend or to her husband or something.
The woman should go to school to the point where she could write a letter to the boyfriend.
Yeah, if she can write this, no, it's okay. We've done the best that we can. But looking at the life that we have today, we are talking about the fourth industrial revolution. They should actually be taking part in these things. We're talking about IT, all these sectors. We have, our girls are really capable of doing such things. So once we empower them with the necessary knowledge, the necessary skills, yes, we have empowered the nation, and we can certainly say that we are driving the continent further.
So we should train our women, educate our women,
Yes.
and accept their viewpoints. In some societies in Africa or places in Africa, I wouldn't want to mention countries and their names, but in these countries, women cannot even take part in meetings. When men gather, when men meet to talk about serious issues that affect their lives, or that affect lives of people in that community, women are not allowed to be part of this decision-making movement. So there is a need to accept the viewpoint of women. Let's train our women, as you mentioned. Let's educate them. Let's keep them in positions. Let's allow the women to mount podiums or platforms. They also have some good knowledge. Some are very intelligent and clever. Let's tap into their wisdom. Let's allow women to speak. Let the women share what they have. Because one philosopher in Ghana, one patriot in Ghana once said that if you educate a woman, you've really educated a whole community. And that is not the same case for a man. Because for a woman is a whole community. A woman stands for a community or a society. Final Voice TV, we believe women are to be empowered. Whether they will disrespect, whether women will not open up their legs in the bedroom when they are empowered, whether women will not cook in the kitchen, is something else to be discussed. But we believe women need to be given positions, and that women need to be trained and educated, and their viewpoints should be accepted in our discussions or society. Final Voice TV, this is where we end today's discussion. If you're a woman or a mother, a young lady growing up, be proud of yourself. You can make it. We say goodbye. Bye.